pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jolly. Good evening and welcome to the 1903rd regular meeting of Livonia City Council. This is a voting meeting. Minutes of this meeting will be approved at the next regular meeting scheduled to be held on Wednesday, September 9th, 2020. Would the clerk please take the roll?
Councilmember Jolly,
Present.
Councilmember Toy,
Here.
Vice President Barr,
Here.
Councilmember White,
Here.
Councilmember McCullough,
Here.
Councilmember Donovic,
Here.
President McIntyre.
Here. So we have all members of the council with us this evening. At this time, I'd like to have the presentation of the minutes. These are the minutes for the 1902nd regular meeting of the City Council that was held on August 5th, 2020. Council?
Move approval.
Second.
Second from Jolly. All right, and if there are any audience comments, corrections to the minutes? If not, Madam Clerk, would you please take the vote on the minutes of the August 5th, 2020 meeting?
Councilmember Jolly,
Aye.
Councilmember Toy,
Aye.
Vice President Barr,
Aye.
Councilmember White,
Aye.
Councilmember McCullough,
Yes.
Councilmember Donovic,
Aye.
President McIntyre.
Aye, and the minutes of the August 5th regular meeting are unanimously approved. At this time, I go to the council. If anyone has any personal announcements, tributes, or recognition they'd like to make. Council Member Toy.
Thank you very much, Madam President. I'd like to announce that one of our former members has a very special birthday today. Mr. Joe Laura, my namesake, is turning, let's see, how do I put this lightly? 70 to be exact.
Wow.
It's something to be very proud of. Many people don't see 70 or even want to see 70. No, but we're real pleased to wish Joe a happy, happy birthday and many more, Joe.
Thank you very much, President or Council Member Toy. Does anyone else have any announcements that they would like to make? Seeing none, and I'm sorry if someone has a hand up, I cannot see at this moment. Does anyone else have a hand up? All right, seeing none, I would just like to note the passing of a longtime Livonia friend, Mr. Gordon Draper, who passed away last week. His life was celebrated this past weekend. He was just an exceptional man. He had been a principal, assistant principal, member of the Traffic Commission, almost lifelong Boy Scout, had traveled the world, and was just one of the finest members of this community. And Gordon's the type of person that when you hear of his passing, you feel like part of Livonia's past, and a generation of very, very special Livonians is leaving. But anyway, condolences to Mr. Draper's friends and family, and may he rest in peace. All right, I'm going to ask Mr. Barr if he could do the department head announcements, because at the moment I cannot see who is on the which department heads we have with us. I think I will be able to see in a moment. Vice President Barr, are you able to see the department heads?
I am, and let me just go down the list here. I see that we have, of course, Paul Bernier, our city attorney. We got Susan Nash, our city clerk, Todd Zlinczyk, our city engineer, Mark Termina, our planning director, Judy Prevey, legislative affairs director. We have Linda Shield, the city treasurer, with us. And we have Ted Davis, our Parks and Recreation Director. And I hope I didn't miss anybody. That's what I'm seeing. Thanks for being with us, everyone.
All right. Thank you very much, Vice President Barr. At this time, I have several announcements to make. The first is the announcement of one public hearing. The public hearing will be held for the following item on Monday, August 31st, 2020. This comes to us from Chad Mead, Chief Administrative Officer of Master Nardi Produce Incorporated, is requesting approval of an industrial facility exemption certificate for an expansion of at least 85,000 square feet of Master Nardi's refrigerated warehouse space located at 28700 Plymouth Road, Livonia, Michigan, 48150. And this is Industrial Development Overlay District number 107. And this will be held, as all our meetings are being held via Zoom. We have one X item that we will get to at the end of the meeting. We have new data on items 14 and X1, and I will refer to the new data on those items when we reach those items respectively. And would also like to wish a very happy birthday to our friend and council member Brandon McCullough, who will be celebrating his birthday Friday, August 28th. Happy birthday, council member McCullough.
Madam President,
Yes.
I just noticed, don't want to be remiss, we also have DPW Director Don Roroff with us.
All right. Thank you very much.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
as to on the council, Mr. McCullough should really tell us kind of around what age he is now.
I'm going to be I'm going to be turning the fresh age of 39.
39.
Wow.
I
Jack
know,
Benny.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
There we go. Yeah,
very
thanks,
nice.
Bob.
Very nice.
All right. I'm going to ask our parliamentarian, Councilmember White, to please read our rules for our council meetings and for audience communication.
Thank you. The following rules are in place for addressing the city council at all meetings, including regular meetings, study sessions, and public hearings. Members of the public audience at the meeting shall not speak until they are recognized by the chair. Each person recognized by the chair to address the council shall identify himself or herself by name and, if appropriate, group affiliation. A person addressing council on an item on the agenda shall be limited to 2 minutes unless the period of time is extended by a majority of the council present, and shall be recognized to speak prior to council's consideration of the item. There will be audience communication section of not more than 30 minutes duration at the beginning of all council regular and study meetings where citizens may address the council. There is also an audience communication section at the end of all regular and study council meetings. Again, where the citizens may address the council on any matter that is not on the agenda of the meeting. Citizens who wish to expand upon their remarks will be asked to reduce the matter to writing and submit it to the city clerk, and such item may be placed on a future council study session for further consideration. A person addressing council under audience communications will be limited to a total of 3 minutes at each study or regular meeting unless the period of time is extended by a majority of the council present. And again, citizens who wish to expand upon their remarks may submit them in writing to the city clerk. There is also an audience communication section at the end of all regular and study council meetings where citizens may address council on any matter that is not on the agenda of the meeting. A citizen may address the council once during audience communication. If the citizen has addressed the council during the first audience communication period at the beginning of the meeting, the citizen will not be permitted to address the council again during any audience communication period at the end of the meeting. Anyone addressing the council shall make responsible comments. Personal, impertinent, slanderous, or profane remarks are not permitted, and anyone causing a breach of the peace may be removed from the council meeting. That's it. Thank you, Council President. You're on mute, Kathleen.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Councilmember White, our parliamentarian, for going over the rules. And at this time, we go to the audience. If anyone in the audience would like to speak during audience communication, this is your opportunity to do so. Right, and we'll begin with Jeremy Kopp, and our parliamentarian will keep the time, and we'll let you know when you have 30 seconds left and when your time is up. Let's see.
Can you hear me now?
Mr. Kopp?
Hi, can you hear me? Yep, can you hear me?
You can.
All right, so my name is Jeremy Kopp. I've lived here in Livonia for about 6 years. I'll be honest with you, when I bought my house here, I wasn't really thinking about race. My wife and I moved back to Michigan in the Metro Detroit area, and she was working in Livonia. We looked at the schools and the houses, and they were great, so we decided to move here. I myself grew up in Lapeer and have lived in many different areas of the state, but not Southeast Michigan. It wasn't until after I moved to Livonia and I started talking to family and friends that I realized Livonia had a reputation. I had many people who I hadn't talked to in quite a while start telling me that they didn't go to Livonia or their Black friends didn't go to Livonia because its reputation of police and community harassment. I have to tell you, it was pretty jarring for me to find this out. Overall, my time in Livonia has been great. My family's been doing very good here, but the reputation has always worried me, and so has the lack of diversity. I've heard comments from people in the community that they're afraid Livonia is becoming another Redford, which, as you probably know, is good for having a lot of Black people. And that's been very disappointing to me. I know the last council meeting, the word permeated was debated in regards to racism in Livonia. I haven't lived here long enough to be able to say that it permeates Livonia, but I certainly know that permeates the reputation in Southeast Michigan. I was not a member of the Livonia Cares About Black Lives group when they bought the billboard. If they would have asked me, I would have told them it was a bad idea, that I thought it was divisive. But I'm the first to admit when I'm wrong, and it led me and many other Livonians to the group. And it gave us an opportunity to see that people were working to change Livonia's reputation. Believe it or not, the billboard is a step to make our reputation better. Acknowledging a problem exists is always an important first step to working together to make the city better. I would like to strongly endorse the council and mayor implementing a civilian review committee for the Livonia Police Department. I personally have never had a bad experience with the Livonia Police. I have great respect for them. That being said, when the statistics were released and you see that Black individuals make up less than 5% of our population, but are over 40% of violations and arrests, that's definitely a red flag. I know a lot of people drive through Livonia, but even looking at the surrounding populations, that doesn't make up the difference. I heard in the last council meeting that you were referring some issues to committee. I'm not sure if this is one of the issues, but I would urge the council to review the crime statistics and provide an assessment of how we could get those percentages without a systematic institutional racism problem. I know the mayor has
30
direct authority
seconds.
over the police, but you have power of the purse. You approve the budgets and provide the funding. I believe I heard you say in a prior meeting, you review body cam footage when incidents have complaints. If you have that kind of oversight authority, you also, you have more oversight authority than you give yourself credit for. Please use it to improve our community and keep making Livonia a welcoming place for people regardless of color. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll go to Mr. Ibera. Oh, sorry. Where are we?
Yes, are you able to hear me?
We are. Good evening.
Hi, my name is Israel Ibora, and I wanted to address the issue of racism as it relates to traffic stops in Livonia, and not only just that, but the need for a civilian oversight committee. We've been working to obtain information regarding the traffic stops, and there have been roadblocks placed in our way time and time again. I'm not exactly sure why you guys don't feel that there is a reasonable expectation for your citizens to want to have oversight, because if everyone is doing things above board, having more eyes on them should not be an issue. As an African American, I do feel that anytime I'm behind the wheel driving in Livonia, that I am extremely more likely to be pulled over, not for breaking the law, not for doing anything outside of driving while Black. So I would like to see that being on the agenda, and I would like it to be addressed publicly, that racism is a public health crisis within the city of Livonia. And we all sat in on the last city council meeting where the word permeate came through the channels of your leadership. And it was almost laughed at that would be a serious consideration, that it is systemically through your levels of government. The fact that you guys couldn't even consider that someone else's opinion could be factual or someone else's perspective could be the truth shows exactly how deeply rooted this problem truly is. I do hope that you all do the right thing.
Thank you. Do we have someone who would like to speak? Anyone else? Oh, we have Heather F.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening. I'm here again to speak with you about racism in Livonia. I would like to echo the previous caller's concerns with the vice president questioning whether racism permeates our city. I'm not quite sure where the problem is with that word or with admitting to that problem, but it is very concerning because there are many, many people that know that it's true and that are sharing their stories that demonstrate that it's true. So we have quite a few groups of people here that are coming together in various ways. And we have a lot of things that we want done. We have a lot of expectations. We want a lot of change, and we're going to keep coming to the meetings. We're going to keep sending emails. We're going to keep making requests. I just want to reiterate that this is not something that's going to blow over. This is something that we are going to keep working for. So we are going to expect all of the city council members to get more involved, to take big steps. I acknowledge steps that have already been taken. The next step, I believe, and many others do as well, is declaring racism a public health crisis. And whatever needs to be done to make that possible, whether it's consulting with medical professionals, of which no one is on the council, then we should do that. You know, the state of Michigan has declared racism a public health crisis, and we're part of Michigan. So I don't see any reason why this is not something that the council can entertain and research and make happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak? All right, seeing no one, we will move ahead with the rest of the agenda. And that we'll move along, and that's with reports from the mayor and other city officials. We have a communication from the Department of Finance dated July 27th regarding various financial statements for the month ending June 30th, 2020. That will be received and filed for the information of the council. With that, we move along to our consent agenda. Items number 1 through 12 are listed on the consent agenda, and they are voted on as one item. It does not mean that they're any less important than any other items on the agenda, but rather that they were determined not to be controversial in nature during our last study meeting. Council, do I have direction?
Madam President,
Yes, Councilmember Jolly.
I'd like to offer an approving resolution of those items listed on the consent agenda.
Support.
Support from Councilmember White. Would the clerk, Madam Clerk, would you please take the vote on the consent agenda?
Councilmember Jolly,
Aye.
Councilmember Toy,
Aye.
Vice President Barr,
Aye.
Councilmember White,
Aye.
Councilmember McCullough,
Aye.
Councilmember Donovic,
Aye.
President McIntyre.
Aye, and the consent agenda is approved unanimously. And with that, we move on to unfinished business, beginning with item number 13. This is a request to waive the sidewalk requirement. This comes to us from Scott Morgan from Soave Homes for the newly constructed home located at 19315 Inkster Road.
Council?
Madam President,
Yes.
I'll offer an approving resolution for purpose of discussion.
All right. We have an approving resolution offered.
I'll support that.
We have support from Council Member White.
Madam President,
Yes.
I don't know if you can see now, but it looks like, I believe we have the petitioner with his hand up. I didn't know if you wanted to go to him.
Yes, we do. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Morgan?
Yes, good evening, council
Good
members.
evening.
Scott Morgan, representing Soave Homes.
All right. And you'd like to talk to us about your sidewalk waiver?
Yes, my request is to waive the sidewalk requirements in front of 19315 Inkster Road. There are no other homes on that portion of Inkster Road on the Livonia side that have sidewalks. And we're requesting that that be waived. It's about a 40-foot area of sidewalk that would go and would lead nowhere. And the reason we're doing this is it just wouldn't look right in that area. We would, it would actually cost us less money to put the sidewalk in, but it doesn't make sense. It doesn't go with the appeal of the home or the area to put a sidewalk in the middle of nowhere. So we're requesting that the council waive this.
All right. Council?
Madam President,
Yes, Council Member Jolly.
although we've talked about sidewalks quite a bit, and I believe sidewalks should be what we strive for in our community, in a situation like what is presented on Inkster Road, it is more logical that we would take it up all at once to connect sidewalks throughout that area as opposed to a piecemeal approach. I don't think one new sidewalk in front of a newly constructed home accomplishes anything in particular other than it causes your eyes to be attracted to that spot and wonder where the rest of them are. For that reason, I'm supporting this tonight. I will be voting to waive the sidewalk requirements. It's not to say that in the long run, I would not wish to see a sidewalk on Inkster Road. I think we need to address that, and we need to address the lack of a sidewalk on Merriman Road as well. But this is not the appropriate way I think we should do it. I favor a full force plan to accomplish the entire thing. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Toy.
Thank you very much, Madam President. I would concur to some point with my colleague, Mr. Jim Jolly. He would be so kind to offer a resolution to take a look at that whole area for sidewalk. I would be more than happy to support it. From a safety factor on a main road, I'm very concerned as we look at this city and as it ages. I'm not a proponent of sidewalks always in rural areas and such, but on main roads, I really am concerned that we look at that. It helps with the economy. It helps with people in their neighborhoods as well on these main drags. And I know at one point the council in the past had looked at Merriman Road, they looked at Hubbard Road, and several of them also, we're very concerned about some of these main roads and these collector roads having sidewalks. So, that would be my opinion on it. It's a start, but, safety is a factor in our community. And I would think that the petitioner can relate to that very well as a former police officer. So I would just like to throw that out for some discussion and some thought as you think through sidewalks on main roads as well. Thank you.
Madam President, if I may
Yes.
respond just briefly.
Aye.
I take what Member Toy has suggested here to heart. I am the chair of the Infrastructure and Strategic Planning Committee. I believe this item is in committee. I'll take a look. And if appropriate, and we have something to work with, I will call a meeting especially for it. But I don't think we need to add it new. I think it's in there already. Thank you.
Oh, good, good.
I see that Member Donovic would like to weigh in here.
Thank you, Council President. As an avid runner, I would appreciate nothing more than more sidewalks. And I see Councilmember Jolly also likes to run too, so we both like more sidewalks. But with that being said, I just don't see that it currently makes sense to have individual homes install sidewalks at a pace that will take 100 years to get enough sidewalks up and down Inkster Road. So while I'd love to see something in the committee and hopefully some sort of infrastructure plan be implemented in the future to have more sidewalks along main roads, I just don't think that this currently is the correct path to do that. So I will be supporting this, and thank you, Madam President.
You will be supporting the waiver, just to clarify?
Yes, Madam President.
Yes, Vice
Probably
President
speak
Barr.
since I was the one that put this on regular. As we've talked about this many times in the past, I certainly understand the cases for the waiver, and they make really good sense. And it puts me right on the fence of this. I do feel, however, that this is another example of where, for whatever reason, over the years, we've been inconsistent. Because while Mr. Morgan's correct that it's not on that section of the street, you go to the block north, or the block south, and you see the patchwork that we see in so many other areas like this. And I just feel like if council had been consistent over the years in doing this, then we wouldn't have this problem, and we don't fix that problem until we start being consistent. So there's times that the argument of it being a sidewalk to nowhere, is the game breaker. And this one certainly is close. I mean, that's a totally valid argument, and it makes good sense. The issue we're going to be dealing with later tonight, a sidewalk waiver, I just, that one I don't see an issue because it's a different type of neighborhood and there's just other factors at play. But in this case, Mr. Jolly mentioned Merriman Road. I totally concur with him on that. We've talked about that in the past. But in this case, we ought to have sidewalks here, and we see it elsewhere on the street. So that's why I'm not in favor of this. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Council? Anyone from the audience like to comment on this issue? All right, seeing none, would the clerk please go ahead, Madam Clerk, would you please go ahead and take the vote on item number 13, the request to waive the sidewalk requirement?
Councilmember Jolly,
Aye.
Councilmember Toy,
Aye.
Vice President Barr,
No.
Councilmember White,
Aye.
Councilmember McCullough,
Yes.
Councilmember Donovic,
Aye.
President McIntyre.
Aye, and the waiver is approved.
Thank you, council members, for your time.
Thank you. Before we go on to the next item, I just wanted to mention that that I've received some texts that people are having a hard time unable to get into the meeting on the link. As I mentioned to the text, as I responded, we do have 23 outside people who are in. And I would suggest if people are having a difficult time zooming in, that they go ahead and call, and I'm pulling the number right now, and if someone else has it right in front of them. The telephone number is, and I apologize for this disruption, but we want to make sure that everyone who's trying to get in can get into the meeting. The telephone number is 301-715-8592. I'll give that to you again, 301-715-8592. And the webinar ID, Casey, would you chime in? Let's see, the ID is 822-419-226. So if you're having problems joining through Zoom, and we have a lot of evidence that people have been able to get in, please go ahead and call in and with that ID number. So thank you, and I apologize for the disruption, but it's important to make sure that everyone who wants to join us is able to do so. Item number 14 is a request to waive a sidewalk requirement. This comes to us from Kory Hoffmyer for the single-family home to be constructed at 20209 Purlingbrook. And I mentioned that we had new data. It is respectfully suggested the water bill statement regarding 20209 Purlingbrook received from the Department of Finance dated August 11th, 2020, reflecting payment in full of the delinquent water bill balance be received and placed on file for the information of the council.
Madam President,
Councilmember McCullough.
I will offer an approving resolution.
Do we have support? Is that Toy?
It was Toy, yeah.
Support from Councilmember Toy. Council? Councilmember Toy.
Thank you very much, Madam President. You know, it comes to mind as we look at different things like water bills and tax bills when we grant some of these sidewalks and other things in the city. Comes to mind what might be helpful on some of these sidewalks is to realize or know how many times a petitioner as such has asked for waivers on these sidewalks. It occurs to me that we're getting a lot of them that are asking for that over the years, as one of the colleagues identified. And it might be helpful to know that, to have those numbers handy for us as we're reviewing, you know, the different requests and the sidewalks. And I don't know if it's, the earlier petitioner said it wasn't because of cost, but I don't, you know, it would be good to hear what reasoning goes behind that, when I really believe in a lot of those areas, especially, again, on main streets, it's a safety issue more than anything. But thank you, Madam Chair. It's just a strong suggestion.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Toy.
Madam President.
Vice President Barr.
I alluded to this on the last item. I will be supporting this one, and I just want to explain the difference in my mind. Whereas the last one was a more urban type development, you know, heavier traffic, closer to the road. This neighborhood is developed as a rural urban farm neighborhood. So the character of this neighborhood is such that I don't see the sidewalks as essential. And that makes sense why we don't see them anywhere here. So I just wanted to explain how I delineate these types of things. Sometimes they're tough. This one's pretty easy, I think.
All right. Councilmember McCullough.
Thank you, Madam President. Just to chime in on the, you know, sidewalks and the, I do think that there is an opportunity, especially when we start looking at capital planning and enhancing, basically, as Councilmember Jolly did state the last item, that it'd be wonderful to do them all at the same time. I know a lot of infrastructure and engineering will have to go into, you know, you have different means of catching the storm water. I know a lot of these streets have the culverts and the ditches and the drains. So, you know, having that in place, it just might be a good thing just to have on the back burner to identify, you know, what it would take going forward to add more walkways and pathways overall to the city. But I do agree, you know, after spending time inspecting sidewalks for so long, it really doesn't make sense to, you know, in certain cases to put sidewalks that go to nothing. And then over the years with, you know, the 4 seasons, by the time we would be ready to have something in place to go all the way through, these sidewalks are already dilapidated and would have to be replaced. So that's my 2 cents.
All right. Thank you. Anyone else? All right. Seeing no one else, would anyone from the audience like to comment on this item? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you please go ahead and take the vote on this sidewalk requirement for 20209 Purlingbrook?
Councilman Valley,
Aye.
Councilmember Toy,
Aye.
Vice President Barr,
Aye.
Councilmember White,
Aye.
Councilmember McCullough,
Aye.
Councilmember Donovic,
Aye.
President McIntyre.
Aye. And the sidewalk, sidewalk requirement is waived for 20209 Purlingbrook. Thank you. Moving along, we will go to item number 15. I'm sorry, we'll move along to new business, beginning with item number 15, and this is a request to schedule a Finance and Budget Committee meeting and to establish a public hearing date. This comes to us from the Department of Finance for the annual budget for the fiscal year ending November 30th, 2020. So this will be next year's budget.
Madam President,
Yes.
I'll move approval on that.
Support.
Support from Councilmember White. Any discussion? Would anyone from the audience like to comment on this item? Seeing none, we could go ahead, Madam Clerk, and please take the roll.
Councilmember Jolly,
Aye.
Councilmember Toy,
Aye.
Vice President Barr,
Aye.
Councilmember White,
Aye.
Councilmember McCullough,
Aye.
Councilmember Donovic,
Aye.
President McIntyre.
Aye. So we will be scheduling a Finance and Budget Committee meeting to establish the public hearing date for our annual budget for next year. Then that's a fiscal year that will end November 30th, 2021. Vice President Barr is the chair of that committee, so he will be working to schedule the public hearing. All right. At this time, I would entertain a motion to suspend the rules. Council.
So moved.
Moved by-
Second.
Supported by Jolly. Any discussion? Discussion from the audience? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you please go ahead and take the vote to suspend the rules?
Councilmember Jolly,
Aye.
Councilmember Toy,
Aye.
Vice President Barr,
Aye.
Councilmember White,
Aye.
Councilmember McCullough,
Aye.
Councilmember Donovic,
Aye.
President McIntyre.
Aye, and the rules are suspended, so we will go to item X1. This is a request for additional appropriation and expenditure. This comes to us from the Public Service Division for the initial cost of an emergency sewer repair along Edgewood Street payable to D'Angelo Brothers, Sod Solutions, NTH Consultants, and Hubble Roth and Clark, also known as HRC Consultants, in an amount not to exceed $500,000 from the unexpended balance. Council.
So moved.
Moved by Toy. Do I have support?
Support.
Support from McCullough.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a little bit of money here, a little bit of a lot of money. But it was an emergency situation as I understood it. That's why I moved the item. And without it, it would be a pretty grave, there's other words for that, but it'd be a pretty grave set of circumstances. So I think we all understand when you have this kind of sewer issue, what can occur and has occurred. So I applaud those people for getting out there and doing their job. And obviously the council comes back to the council so that anything over $15,000 that the city spends does come to the council. And so this amount obviously is a lot more than that. So hopefully we can get this remedied and underway as we face those kinds of issues, as we deal with Detroit water and sewer as well. So thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, colleagues. It's a good issue, and I think it deserves a favorable response.
Thank you, Councilmember Toy.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilmember Jolly.
not to belabor this, we had an opportunity to sit down with some representatives from the DPW department and kind of find out some information in regards to the background of this and what exactly needs to be corrected. I'll say that I think they're coming to us because they have incurred costs. They anticipate incurring more costs in regards to fixing this problem. You know, we don't take these situations lightly where we are, you know, kind of, for lack of a better way, putting money out there without the scrutiny beforehand, like we normally do. I would just say for the record that I would like to see, and I know it will be made available, an itemized breakdown of the costs that are incurred in regards to this. And, you know, I don't think anybody shoots to go out of their way to bring something like this to us. But I have to say, for the record, this is not a normal fix. This is not a normal or anticipated fix. But I really, you know, always want to try and avoid these situations if we can. But in this case, it's just, I don't think it's possible. Thank you.
All right, and I think that I neglected to mention the new data. And well, there are actually two things. It's respectfully suggested that the updated color map received by the Department of Public Works with respect to this item be received and placed on file for the Information Council. And we did have some new data that came in late this afternoon, or not, it came in this afternoon. And it's respectfully suggested that communication received from Jacob Rushlow, Superintendent of Public Service, dated August 17th, 2020, regarding information pertaining to the ongoing emergency sewer repair on Edgewood Street be received and placed on file for the information of the council.
Madam President,
Yes, Vice President Barr.
I apologize. For some reason, I'm not seeing my raise hand button. I'll have to try to figure that out here. But
Okay.
I just want to echo what Councilman Jolly said. I appreciate that and would concur. Just one thing that, and I just want to point out, I'm not saying this to embarrass anybody, but I just, when we're doing these resolutions and in the communication on this, and even in our attorney notes tonight, it talks about a not to exceed amount of $500,000 to be divided and distributed among the following contractors. Now, I know the people involved here, and I know what they intend to say, but when we say to be divided and distributed, it sounds like, oh, we got $500,000. Let's figure out what portion everybody gets. That's not the intent. The intent is we think it's going to be something less than that. We're just approving that tonight so that they can execute the contracts that they need to. But just for future, I wanted to convey that because that hasn't sat well with me each time I've seen it. So thanks.
Thank you, Vice President Barr. Councilmember McCullough.
Thank you, Madam President. Just to kind of give, and I'm following kind of the notes and kind of the history on this, is it almost seems like this was a combination of the grade and the water table, and the fact that this was found during preventative maintenance inspections. So, you want to tip the hat that our preventative measures are identifying these issues. And while we don't like to spend these kind of funds, we'd like to be proactive. I do want to, give some kudos to the fact that this was identified and this wasn't something that could potentially get in exceeding, millions upon millions, as in some of these engineering projects that we see on the news. So I will be also supporting this.
Thank you, Councilmember McCullough. Anyone else?
Madam President.
Yes, Vice President Barr.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna tack on to something that Jim said earlier, but I just want to reinforce it that, we did have an opportunity, some of us, to talk at length about this, and our DPW department, we spent more than an hour with them, at least I and a couple others did, and was, I thought, forthcoming and good in answering our questions. So I just want to reinforce, as several others have, this is a lot of money. It's not something we do lightly, but I feel like it does make sense, and I think we're doing the right thing. Thanks.
All right, anyone else? Would anyone from the audience like to speak on this agenda item? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, if you would please go ahead and take the vote on this item. And this is the request for the additional appropriation expenditure for the initial cost of emergency sewer repair along Edgewood Street, payable to the vendor's name.
Councilmember Jolly,
Aye.
Councilmember Toy,
Aye.
Vice President Barr,
Aye.
Councilmember White,
Aye.
Councilmember McCullough,
Aye.
Councilmember Donovic,
Aye.
President McIntyre.
Aye. And the additional appropriation and expenditure is approved.
Madam President.
Yes, Vice President Barr.
Just as a follow-up to that, I'd like to offer a resolution that we put into committee, just this entire project. I can explain that more in a minute.
Support from Councilmember Toy.
Thank you. And my reason for that is this, this is a big expense, but unfortunately, it's just the beginning for this entire project. This project's going to be quite a bit more expensive than this. And we were in a situation right now because of the emergency repairs that we had to move relatively quickly on the expenditure we approved tonight. But in anticipation of some other large expenditures related to this project, I'd like to put it into committee now so that as those come up, we don't have to wait for the entire meeting cycle to put it in committee. I think we'll be able to move faster on having some substantive discussions with the entire council if we have this in committee and DPW can come to us with the details of the large expenditures that are coming. And I say it's into committee. I guess this should go into and I'm sorry, I don't have my committees in front of me now. Is that your committee, Jim? The infrastructure?
It is, and I'll second that.
I think Laura seconded it already.
Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize.
But thanks for confirming. That's the committee I'd like to put it into, the infrastructure committee. I forget the whole name.
Thank you, Vice President Barr. Any other comment on Vice President Barr's suggestion or resolution that we put this into the infrastructure committee?
No.
Seeing none, seeing no comments from the audience, please take the vote, call the vote on putting this item, the overall project related to sewer into the infrastructure committee, please.
Councilmember Jolly,
Aye.
Councilmember Toy,
Aye.
Vice President Barr,
Aye.
Councilmember White,
Aye.
Councilmember McCullough,
Aye.
Councilmember Donovic,
Aye.
President McIntyre.
Aye. And the expenditure, no, we already did that. We're putting this item into committee, infrastructure committee. And with this, we go back to the audience. If anyone who has not already spoken would like to speak now, you have an opportunity to do so. I see that someone, a name that already spoke, is wishing to speak again. I will call on the person in the event that there's someone else at that residence or on the Zoom who would like to speak. That hand went away. Okay. Last call for audience communication. All right, we have no other audience members who indicate that they would wish to speak, so I
Motion
would
to adjourn.
call for a motion to adjourn.
I did.
To Councilmember Toy. Support from Councilmember Jolly. Any discussion? All right, Madam Clerk, would you please take the vote on the motion to adjourn?
Councilmember Jolly,
Aye.
Councilmember Toy,
Aye.
Vice President Barr,
Aye.
Councilmember White,
Aye.
Councilmember McCullough,
Aye.
Councilmember Donovic,
Aye.
President McIntyre.
Aye, and the meeting is adjourned, and we will reconvene in 9 minutes at 8 o'clock with our study meeting, and I'll remind everyone stay live, so if you'd like to put yourselves on mute and stop your video.